Hatred is just someone announcing that you don't match their preferences. Once you view it this way, it loses a lot of its teeth. That was a great quote by Alex Hormozi. And I think it speaks to the heart of the problem. And look, I cop a fair bit of people getting upset, especially the snowflakes who get their, knickers in a knot about the things I talk about. And I firmly believe them. That's why I state them. I'm not, I'm not here to fuck spiders. I'm here to be serious and give you how I view the world and how I believe that, we should be living, that we should be pushing forward for better levels. We should be chasing greatness, not accepting mediocrity. That we should be doing better in this life. And stop accepting this weak narrative that society wants to tell us is normal and acceptable and should be this way. But it's not. It's not how we should be. It's not what is acceptable. We need to demand better of ourselves, especially as fathers and husbands and leaders, as men who need to be the leader of their family and uplift. We need to do better. We need to be better. And we need to take the correct action to live that way. And as I said, so obviously this comes with a fair bit of flack. And I'm a human. Sometimes that shit gets to me. Sometimes it just makes me flat out laugh at the absurdity of people and the things they get pissed off about. And I thought this quote was just beautiful. But it also speaks to that on the level of, I have plenty of clients who, when they start making these choices and they start standing up for themselves to be the greatest version of themselves, they cop shit from family, friends, all those around them. And for a long time, it did puzzle me a little bit. But this speaks to that level. And it's a twofold thing. One, it speaks to the notion of, they're hating on you because you don't match their preferences. You don't match how they see the world and how they prefer things to be. That's not your problem. They're not hating on you as a person. Well, they might be. But it's not your problem to deal with that you don't match their preferences. That's their problem to face. But the other side of it is also that you no longer match their preferences in how they're choosing to live their life. So they're going to hate you or discourage you or try and bring you down because it highlights their preferences and that they're making choices. That their preferences have led to the life that they're leading. We've spoken many times before that your life is a direct reflection of your thoughts, your habits, and your actions. If you aren't happy with your life, that's your fault. It's 100% your fault. But people want to argue and hate on people for A, calling that out, and B, for living a different life. And it's because they don't match their preferences. I've had people get into my comments and you don't understand, this is what it's like, or they want to impose their points of view on it. I had a guy tell me it must be nice that I don't have responsibilities and I don't have kids, so what am I like to say? And I have great genetics, so it's really easy for me. I'm like, clearly that means you haven't bothered to actually look at any of my stuff. Because I do. I have 2 children. They are 3 and 4. I was not gifted this way. I have worked tirelessly for this. And even recently, you can go back to the start of this. I documented the entirety of the journey to show you what is possible, to show you what it takes, and show you what can be done when you lock the fuck in. But I'm well aware that I ain't going to be everybody's cup of tea. And nor do I want to be. And I think that's one that I always find even more fascinating, because people hate on it and they're like, well, you should be more accommodating to people. And I was like, why? Why would I? Why do I want to be that? I don't want to fit in. I don't want to work with all the people who don't want to put in effort. I don't want to be a part of that. I want people who want to change drastically, who want to demand greatness, who want to pursue their highest potential. I don't want to fuck around with people who are like, this is good enough. I can't imagine anything worse than literally not only settling for average and mediocrity, but then demanding others do the same. Like, that is mind-boggling to me. And the amount of people who want to tell me that it's too much and that I shouldn't do that, and I should be happy with where I'm at, or I should spend more time with my children. Well, often when you throw shade at things, often when you are fighting for your excuses and your limitations, it highlights the areas that you feel most uncomfortable about. You feel triggered and called out by these things because deep down inside, that, well, you aren't doing that shit. That's why it upsets you. You know that you should be and need to step up and do better on those things, but you aren't. I have ones all the time, and they're like, as I said, the biggest one I hear is, oh, well, I'd rather be present and spend time with my kids. Why are they either or options? Like, that's the one that always makes me laugh, and people are like, oh, spend time with your children, be present. Do. Probably more than most people do. I am incredibly lucky in the amount of time that I get to spend with my children every single day. Like, unbelievably blessed. My wife is a stay-at-home mum. She looks after the kids. I get to go home in the middle of the day and just hang out with my children. I do bedtime 6 out of 7 days. And the only days that I don't do bedtime is because they go and stay with their grandparents for a night. I am blessed beyond all measure. Me being in great shape has nothing to fucking do with that. And look, I have worked with other guys who aren't as blessed as me. You know what they do? They do the adult thing. And they sacrifice their sedation. They sacrifice other areas that are unfucking important to make sure that the work gets done. They get up earlier. They stay up later. They stop watching TV or doom scrolling or whatever the fuck you're doing with the other ends of the day. They utilize the time with their children effectively, but then don't use those children as an excuse to not do the work that is necessary. And this is the biggest thing that I find with this, that people who hate on others and tell you that you should spend more time with your kids or you should be more present, I can guarantee that A, you feel like you don't enough. You feel like you're not connected and engaged enough, because I've never watched someone else's video on the internet and gone, you know what, I really need to fucking get in their comments and attack them. I have never once been triggered enough to go, you know what will make me feel better about my life choices? Attacking someone else's life choices. And they're always the ones who are watching YouTube shorts in the middle of the day. And they're like, oh, this fucking guy, why don't you just be present with your children? Why don't you? Instead of being on your fucking phone. Always cracks me up with that shit. But it comes back to that one. Hatred is that you don't match their preferences. And most people's preferences are that they want to sedate, they want easy, they want comfort, and they want to defend their limitations and excuses instead of getting real and raw and honest with themselves about the choices that they're making, the decisions that they're making towards the life that they currently have. As I said before, your life is 100% your fault. If you don't like it, change it. Do something different. You are in control. And you can change it. You can do something different. You can build a different life at any moment in time. You might not like the price that you'll have to pay. You might not like the cost of what you will have to sacrifice to achieve that, but you can, at any point, start building a very, very different life. You just have to make that decision. You just have to decide that enough is enough. And now you are going to do what is required. But here's the dirty little secret that people don't want to talk about. If you have time, A, to fucking comment on other people's videos on the internet, or B, are watching TV, sports, porn, social media, any of these kinds of things, you have time to get into shape. You have time and capacity to do the things that are necessary. You have the option to still be a present and engaged father and build a great physique for your family, to become the greatest version of yourself. You are choosing your sedation, your comfort, and ease of choices over what your family and children need. So don't get into my comments and start arguing with me about how I don't have my priorities straight. The fact that you're already there hating on someone else for having a different opinion to you says everything you need to know. Maybe get off the fucking internet and start doing something with your life. Maybe it's time to actually take a hard look at yourself and start demanding greatness of yourself, to be a better version for those people, for your children that you claim that you're doing this for. Maybe it's time to take that hatred and look at the preferences that have been triggered because of that. It's time to have an internal look, and it's time to start demanding greatness.